There is a plant growing in your yard right now that contains 3 times more calcium than spinach. It delivers more protein than kale, and it provides more vitamin C than most leafy greens you can buy in a supermarket. For over 7,000 years, civilizations across every continent cultivated it as a primary food source. Archaeologists have found its seeds stored in Neolithic settlements from Poland to China, preserved alongside the grains that built the first farming communities. Then, in the span of a single generation, it was reclassified as a weed. The same plant family that gives us quinoa, the superfood selling for $8 per pound in grocery stores, grows free in every disturbed lot, every garden edge, every crack in the sidewalk. But instead of harvesting it, you pull it up and throw it away. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we forgot that this was food. This is Lamb's Quarters Chenopodium album, and its journey from ancient staple to forgotten weed reveals exactly how abundance disappears when no one profits from remembering it. Welcome to Secrets Beneath Nature, where we explore the real secrets hidden from us. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us grow and continue to deliver value. The archaeological record stretches back further than most people imagine. In 2018, researchers published findings from a Neolithic settlement called Ludwinowo in north-central Poland. The site dated to the late 6th millennium BCE, over 7,000 years ago. When archaeologists sifted through soil samples, they found something unexpected. Alongside the expected grains of einkorn wheat and emmer, they discovered abundant seeds of Chenopodium album. The quantity was too large to be accidental contamination. The seeds had been deliberately stored. Radiocarbon dating confirmed their age matched the settlement itself. These were not weeds invading ancient grain stores. These were crops. The pattern repeated across Europe. At Brinkhuis in southern Poland, excavations of a linear pottery culture settlement yielded over 900 lamb's quarter seeds. Researchers noted that the sheer volume suggested significant crop-like use. At sites across the Kujawi region, fat hen seeds appeared in quantities that could only be explained by intentional gathering or cultivation. The plant was not competing with agriculture. It was part of agriculture. Long before Europeans developed these farming communities, civilizations in Asia had recognized the same truth. In the Yiluo Valley of China, archaeobotanical surveys documented Chenopodium seeds at sites spanning from the late Neolithic through the Shang dynasty. Highland indigenous people in Taiwan cultivated a related species as a crop in millet fields, grinding the seeds into flour for starchy food. The genus Chenopodium contains roughly 250 species distributed across the globe, and humans on nearly every continent independently discovered their value. In North America, Native American tribes built their own relationship with this plant family. A native species called Chenopodium berlandieri was one of the earliest agricultural crops grown on the continent. Archaeologists have discovered stored seeds dating back 3,500 years. The Blackfoot Indians were using and storing Chenopodium seeds in the 16th century, before European trade had reached their territory. Apache and Mescalero communities ate it fresh or cooked with green chile and meat. Across the Southwest, tribes recognized that this plant followed human settlement, thriving in disturbed soil wherever people cleared land or built villages. It was not an accident. It was a companion crop that required no planting, no irrigation, and no purchase. The plant possessed characteristics that made it invaluable to both mobile and agricultural peoples. It thrived in disturbed soil. It produced edible leaves from spring through fall. Its tiny black seeds could be collected, dried, and ground into flour that stored through winter. One plant can produce up to 75,000 seeds. A patch that fed a family 1 year would return the next without any effort. For communities facing uncertain harvests and unpredictable seasons, this reliability meant survival. Traditional medicine systems across cultures recognized its healing properties as well. Native American and Ayurvedic practitioners used the leaves for digestive ailments, skin conditions, and inflammation. Modern laboratory research has begun validating these traditional uses. A 2019 study published in the journal Plants found that Chenopodium album extracts showed significant inhibition of pro-inflammatory mediators. The same study confirmed antioxidant properties using multiple testing methods. A 2023 study in Food Science and Nutrition documented antiviral, anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic, and antimicrobial properties in both in vitro and in vivo experiments. The pharmaceutical potential of this plant is only beginning to be explored. So how did 7,000 years of cultivation become a weed in a single generation? The transformation happened gradually, then all at once. In the early 20th century, lamb's quarters still appeared in American gardens without stigma. It grew alongside cultivated vegetables, and families harvested it as a free addition to their meals. The plant required no purchase, no special care, and no replanting. It simply appeared wherever humans disturbed the soil. But the 20th century brought industrialization to agriculture. Farming shifted from diversified polycultures to monocultures of single cash crops. Any plant competing with that cash crop became an enemy. The definition of weed has no botanical meaning. A weed is simply any plant growing where someone with economic power does not want it. Lamb's quarters competed with corn. It competed with soybeans. It competed with wheat. And, unlike those crops, it could not be patented, packaged, or sold. The same pattern that erased white clover from American lawns touched every wild edible that once sustained communities. As herbicides became widely available after World War II, farmers had new tools to eliminate competition. Broadleaf herbicides killed lamb's quarters on contact. The plant that had fed Neolithic farmers and Native American tribes became a target for chemical elimination, not because it lacked value, because its value could not be captured by anyone selling inputs. Consider the parallel to quinoa. Both plants belong to the same genus, Chenopodium. Quinoa grows in the high Andes of South America. Lamb's quarters grows across North America, Europe, and Asia. Nutritionally, lamb's quarters is comparable, and in some measures superior. The United States Department of Agriculture confirms that raw lamb's quarters contains 309 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams. Raw spinach contains only 99 milligrams. That means lamb's quarters delivers 3 times more calcium than the leafy green Americans consider the gold standard for bone health. Yet quinoa sells for $6 to $10 per pound in American supermarkets, marketed as an ancient superfood with miraculous health properties. Lamb's quarters, growing free in every abandoned lot and garden edge, is sprayed with Roundup or tossed in the compost bin. The difference is not nutrition. The difference is geography and control. Quinoa could be imported, packaged, branded, and sold at premium prices. Lamb's quarters grows wild wherever you are. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be monopolized. It cannot generate recurring revenue. So it faded from cultural memory, while its South American cousin was elevated to superfood status. The erasure was also practical. Spinach could be industrialized. It grows in uniform rows, harvests mechanically, and ships in refrigerated trucks to supermarkets across the country. Lamb's quarters wilts within hours of harvest. It cannot survive the industrial supply chain. Without shelf stability, there is no product. Without a product, there is no profit. Without profit, there is no marketing budget. Without marketing, there is no cultural presence. The plant simply disappeared from awareness. But the nutritional truth cannot be erased by marketing. Laboratory analysis of lamb's quarters reveals why ancient civilizations valued it so highly. The United States Department of Agriculture National Nutrient Database confirms the numbers. Calcium content measures 309 milligrams per 100 grams of raw leaves. Compare that to spinach at 99 milligrams and to kale at 254 milligrams. Lamb's quarters beats both. Potassium reaches 452 milligrams per serving, higher than bananas by weight. Vitamin A exceeds daily requirements in a single serving. Vitamin C content surpasses spinach by a significant margin. The protein content stands out among leafy greens. At 4.2 grams per 100 grams raw, lamb's quarters contains roughly 45% more protein than raw spinach at 2.9 grams. For a wild plant requiring no cultivation, this protein density is remarkable. The leaves also provide fiber, B vitamins, manganese, and copper. Researchers have noted that the mineral content in lamb's quarters leaves is comparably higher than in other consumed vegetables such as beet greens, mustard leaves, and spinach. The seeds offer another dimension of nutrition entirely. They can be collected in late summer, dried and ground into flour. This flour is gluten-free, high in protein, and was a staple survival food for communities facing harsh winters or failed harvests. The entire plant, from tender spring leaves to autumn seed heads, provides food across the growing season. Modern research has confirmed what traditional healers knew for centuries. Studies published in peer-reviewed journals document anti-inflammatory compounds that reduce swelling and promote healing. Antioxidant capacity tests rank lamb's quarters among the highest of all leafy greens. A comprehensive 2022 review published in Food Research International cataloged antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antiparasitic, anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, and hepatoprotective properties documented across multiple studies. The plant that grows uninvited in your garden contains a pharmacy of bioactive compounds. The flavor profile makes it even more accessible. Young lamb's quarters leaves taste mild and slightly earthy, similar to spinach but without any bitterness. The Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine describes it as one of the most nutritious greens ever analyzed, outcompeting many common vegetables in vitamin and mineral content. You can eat the leaves raw in salads, sauté them with garlic, blend them into smoothies, or add them to soups and stews. In India, where the plant is called bathua, it remains a common vegetable sold in markets and cooked in homes across the subcontinent. What Americans call a weed, Indians call dinner. A foraging renaissance is now underway. In farmers' markets from Portland to Brooklyn, small-scale growers are beginning to sell lamb's quarters to chefs who feature it as a wild seasonal green. Permaculture communities deliberately cultivate it, recognizing that a plant requiring no inputs and producing abundant nutrition represents the foundation of food security. Foragers share identification guides and recipes online. The knowledge that nearly disappeared is being reconstructed by people who question why abundance should be thrown away. The climate argument makes this rediscovery urgent. Lamb's quarters thrives in poor soil where cultivated crops fail. It tolerates drought that kills spinach and lettuce. It requires no irrigation, no fertilizer, and no pesticides. As climate change destabilizes industrial agriculture, as aquifers drain and topsoil erodes, the plants we dismissed as weeds may become the crops that ensure survival. They have done it before, feeding Neolithic farmers and Native American communities through uncertain seasons. They will do it again if we let them. Consider what you are really looking at when you see lamb's quarters growing in a vacant lot or emerging along the edge of your garden. You are seeing 7,000 years of human cultivation compressed into a single plant. You are seeing the food that Neolithic farmers in Poland stored alongside their wheat. You are seeing the green vegetable that Apache and Blackfoot communities harvested for countless generations. You are seeing 3 times more calcium than spinach, more protein than kale, more vitamins than most supermarket greens, growing without permission, without purchase, and without any corporate intermediary. You are also seeing what happens when abundance threatens no one's profit margin. A plant that feeds for free generates no revenue. A crop that reseeds itself forever creates no dependent customers. Food that grows wild in every disturbed lot cannot be monopolized, patented, or controlled, so it fades from memory. It gets reclassified as a problem. Children grow up never knowing it was food. 3 generations later, people spray poison on their own food supply because they were never taught to see it as anything but a nuisance. The pattern repeats across every wild edible that once sustained human communities. White clover was removed from lawn seed mixes when herbicide sales became more profitable than clover's benefits. Amaranth was suppressed by Spanish conquistadors who understood its power to sustain resistance. Sunchokes were forgotten because their irregular shapes could not be harvested by industrial machinery. The crops that enable independence tend to disappear from cultural memory, not because they fail, but because they succeed without requiring dependence on purchased inputs. But lamb's quarters never left. It is growing right now in the lot behind your house. It is emerging along the edge of the highway. It is pushing through the cracks in parking lots and colonizing construction sites. The most nutritious leafy green you can access for free is waiting exactly where it has always been. The only thing that disappeared was your knowledge of it. Look for the distinctive leaves shaped like a goose's foot. Look for the powdery white coating on young growth that beads water like wax. Look for plants that thrive in disturbed soil, in garden edges, in places where humans have been. That powder is your confirmation. That shape is your identification. That location is your harvest site. The science is documented in peer-reviewed journals. The archaeology confirms millennia of deliberate use. The nutrition data sits in government databases. The traditional knowledge survives in cultures that never forgot. The only barrier between you and free, abundant, highly nutritious food is the belief that it does not exist. They did not make you forget lamb's quarters through conspiracy. They made you forget through neglect, through the gradual replacement of knowledge with convenience, through supermarkets that made food seem like something that only comes wrapped in plastic, through generations who never learned what their great-grandparents knew without thinking. But forgetting is not permanent. The plant is still here. The knowledge can be recovered. And now you know what was growing in your yard all along.